The Killer G's ground the Jets in overtime as the Flyers win 3-2 and gain a much valuable 2 points in the playoff race, are still in the eighth spot with a big game coming up on Wednesday against the conference leading and league leading Washington Capitals. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Patrick Lynn, and welcome back to the Orange and Black Attack as the Killer G's, Claude Giroux, and Shane Gottesbeer get the job done to help the Flyers win 3-2 in overtime. Wow, am I excited for this hockey game. It was a great hockey game between the Flyers and the Jets. Let's get into this. No scoring in the first period, but the Flyers came out with a big jump in their legs. Um, Flyers are going to be playing 8 games in 14 days here, folks. They got a lot of hockey coming up, and I'm hoping that if they make the playoffs, they will not be fatigued going in, but they've got a lot of hockey coming up. No scoring in the first period. It's being seen somewhat of a trend for the Flyers and the teams that they've been playing. There hasn't been any goals. Steve Mason is once again our starter again. Hacksaw's going to ride him until the playoffs, until if the Flyers clinch or if they get into the playoffs. Hacksaw's going to ride Steve Mason. We get into the second period, and that's when the Flyers will strike first. 42 seconds in, and it's the ageless Mark Streit getting the Flyers on the board with a nice little pass from Sean Couturier as he fires it over to Streit, and Streit's able to get it past Pavlik, and the Flyers lead 1-0. Later in the period, puck comes out to Wayne Simmonds. Choo choo! All aboard the Wayne train as Wayne Simmonds wrist one past Pavlik, and the Flyers have a 2-0 lead. You think that maybe the Flyers could hold it? Well, not so fast, folks, as the Flyers, as always, can't hold 2-goal leads. But I'm not upset about this because the way the game turned out. Mark Scheifele for the Jets gets scores for the Jets, so he gets a little breakaway and he's able to get it past Steve Mason, and it's 2-1 going into the third period. About 2 minutes into the third, the Jets strike again as Scheifele finds Blake Wheeler, and Blake Wheeler gets it past Steve Mason, and we are tied 2-2. Chances galore as the Flyers finally again get their legs back in the third period. They are throwing pucks left and right. Shane Gottesbeer goes to hit the post again. He's been doing that a lot lately. But the Flyers had their chances in the overtime, especially on the 4-on-4. Game guy kind of got a little heated there. Scary moment in the game as Jake Voracek went in for a rush. He took a shot, and Pavlik made the save, but both Jake Voracek's momentum and Trouba's momentum went into Pavlik. Trouba's skate hit the back of Pavlik's head. He was down for at least a good 3 minutes. A scary moment. I know in the heat of the battle, and I know when you get into things, but you hate to see things happen to other teams' players. Thankfully, Pavlik was okay, shook it off, and he came back into the game. We go into overtime as expected with the 3-on-3 overtime. Chances galore. Pavlik stood up and Mason stood up, but with about 13 seconds left, the Flyers fight it. Shane Gottesbeer strips a guy, strips Mark Scheifele, who had a great game for the Winnipeg Jets, strips it, and he's able to find Claude Giroux, and Claude Giroux wrists it past Pavlik as it bounces off of his shoulder and into the net, and the captain gives the Flyers a 3-2 win and a much-needed 2 points as Detroit, at the time of this recording, is beating the Buffalo Sabres 2-0. It looks like they are going to go on and win that game, barring if Buffalo makes a comeback with about 5 minutes left. I think that's how much time is left at the time of this recording. So the Flyers keep pace. They are still in the eighth spot. Doesn't matter if Detroit wins; they are still in the eighth spot. The Flyers do play Wednesday night against Washington, which will then the Red Wings are off. So the Flyers, if they can beat the league leading Capitals, who I believe if they win tonight at the time of this recording are going to be the President's Trophy winners. Congratulations to them if they do win that game. But the Flyers, strong game tonight. They got a little sloppy in the second and towards the middle part of the third period, but they turned it on after the 10-minute mark of the third. They were able to get pucks on net on Pavlik. They were able to do a lot of stuff that was right, but They had to go to overtime, and the Flyers now are 10-5 in games decided in overtime. That's best in the league. They have 10 wins. Um, and it's an important 10th win in overtime as it gives you an extra point. Um, Coming out of this game, good, strong performance by the top line. The power play, though it did not connect, looked a lot better. They were moving the puck. They weren't trying to do the pretty play as much as they wanted to, which I'm fine with. I'm always the advocate of throw the puck to the net. You'll get good things will happen. They were throwing pucks to the net. Radko Gudas had another strong game defensively. Plus, he's feeling really confident with his shot. You can see that now. When he gets an open chance, he's firing it towards the net, and he had one blast, and Pavic made a nice kick save. My stars of the game. First star is Claude Giroux, of course, with the game-winning goal. My second star is Wayne Simmonds with his goal in the second period, and my third star of the game is Mark Streit with his goal early in the second period. Those are the goal scorers. I want to hats off to Scheifele for the Winnipeg Jets. He had a great game, and Blake Wheeler played pretty well too. They've got a lot of young guys over there. They can just get their act together. I don't think they have the goaltending that's really well, but the Jets, they're there. They're up and coming. They just need a couple more pieces. But the Flyers do get a much needed 2 points. Sorry, Dr. Deke, we got another point ahead, and we're still ahead of you. It looks like we're going to be playing hokey pokey, as my friend Dr. Deke said. So it looks like we're playing hokey pokey with the Detroit Red Wings with that 8th and final playoff spot. However, the Flyers are 2 points behind the New York Islanders for the 7th spot. So if the Islanders falter and the Flyers continue to play well like they have been playing, the Flyers could vault the Islanders into 7th spot, and the Red Wings and the Islanders could be playing hokey pokey with the 8th spot. So hopefully that won't be happening. Flyers turn around now. Wednesday night rivalry, 8 o'clock on Wednesday Eastern 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 5 o'clock for those who live on the left coast. On the NBC Sports Network. So we're going to get Doc Emrick and Eddie Olczyk calling the game, which is a big game. It is the Philadelphia Flyers and the Washington Capitals from the Wells Fargo Center, as Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals come to town. It is Fan Appreciation Night for those who are going to the game, if you are watching this. Flyers then have off on, I believe they off on Thursday and Friday, and then they have a back-to-back this weekend with Ottawa coming to town on Saturday, and I can't remember who they play on Sunday. I think it's Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. But Ottawa comes to town. It is a 1 o'clock start on Comcast Sportsnet this Saturday afternoon. And if I'm up, I go back to work this week. So if I am up, I should be up for the game I usually am for you guys. But can't look past the Washington Capitals. It is Wednesday night rivalry, NBC Sports Network, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 5 o'clock for those who live on the West. And it is the Philadelphia Flyers facing off against Alex Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals. And as I always say, good night and good hockey.